Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first podcast episode of Talk Virgin to Me. And we are talking about Virgin Voyages. I am super excited to chat about this and bring you everything Virgin Voyages because I love it. It's something that I have a massive passion for, and I love sailing on the product. So if you don't know much about me, my name is Samantha, and I own Fabulous Adventures Travel Company. And we are one of Virgin's top sellers. So I wanted to share with you my love and everything that is wonderful about Virgin. So a little bit about me. I have actually been a travel agent for almost 10 years. I've owned the company for 6 years. I have a wonderful, fabulous team of agents that work with me. And sometimes they like to come on and do lives with me as well about Virgin Voyages. So hopefully you'll get to see them as we do more podcasts. But let's talk a little bit about Virgin. They describe themselves as an adults-only, all-inclusive voyage. I agree with that 100%. I'm going to say to you that Virgin, the best part about it is that it is adults only. That is my all-time favorite part about it because when you there's something about putting adults at sea and there's no children and there's a little bit of alcohol around there and there's no distractions. Adults are such different people. So you're just chatting with people. I can't tell you the amount of clients that have come back to me and said, wow, I had no idea that I was going to talk to, meet, chat with, hang out with all these different people. So that is one of my favorite aspects about it because meeting different people, hanging out with them, it's just something that is just wonderful with the fact that they're not, chasing children around or no one's worrying about children. So a lot of adults tend to open up a bit more on this cruise. So I love that about it. The all-inclusive part, 100%. So it is all-inclusive. So right now, so if you're watching this a few months from now, it could possibly not be the case. But right now, there is a free bar tab that's included. So a couple episodes from now, we'll probably talk about the actual bar tab and what it means and why it's different from other cruise lines. But currently, there's a free bar tab. So that is all-inclusive. They give free Wi-Fi. So that is all-inclusive. They also give basic bevies. That is all-inclusive. Group fitness classes, all-inclusive. Specialty dining, all-inclusive. So all of these things are usually extra on a cruise line. With Virgin, when you see the price, that's what it is. It's all-inclusive. So I love that about it. There's no nickel and diming. They do not like to nickel and dime you. And honestly, one of the even better parts is there's no gratuities. So that's a huge thing because when you sail on other cruise lines, there are gratuities. And, when you get on board, sometimes you're like, ooh, I totally forgot I had to pay that. Or maybe beforehand, you're like, I didn't remember that I needed to pay that. So, and you didn't factor that into your pricing. This is all included. Now, I will say to you, and we could dive into this in another episode, that if you want to tip, you can. But there's no one standing around waiting for it. There's, you don't feel like you have to. There's nothing like when you walk up to the bar, you're like, oh, I got to leave this guy some money. Does not feel like that at all. So it is truly, truly all inclusive when it comes to gratuities. A few other reasons that Virgin is changing the way that we sail is they like to stay in port a little bit later than most cruise ships. So sometimes when you're in port, you'll see that you have to be back on board at 3. So not Virgin. Usually it's a little bit later, which is awesome because you get to hang out and enjoy that destination a lot longer. The other thing too is that the ship is a super yacht. So it was not built like a cruise ship. It was built to feel a little bit more like home and like a larger yacht. So it does have that feel. So the restaurants are actual restaurants. The casino's a little bit smaller, and that is a complaint on some people, but honestly, I think it's fine. I think it's big enough. It holds all the things people want. There's a lot of bars. There's a lot of lounge areas to hang out with and drink and all that stuff. So the super yacht is definitely different, and it only holds about 2,700 people, which makes the experience a little bit more intimate than some of the other cruise lines. And I absolutely love that for it because you do get to see, as I mentioned earlier, you get to see the people that you did meet the other day. So you run into them at the other bar over here, or you're walking down the hallway, and then sometimes you'll meet them in the elevator and you're like, hey, I didn't see you. How was your day today? So it's a really cool experience. And I do love that about it because they have completely changed the game of cruising. They also have some really cool destinations that not a lot of cruise lines go to. So Bimini is one of them, which I absolutely love. That's actually where their private beach club is. So it only allows the cruise ship to go there. And it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. We will dive into that in another episode. And but the destinations are just wonderful and definitely different. From the US, you can sail to Mexico, Dominican, Bahama. You can even go to Key West, which is one of my favorite actual itineraries, to be honest. I know it sounds silly because it's, we live in the US and I shouldn't want to go to Key West, but honestly, it's one of my favorite cities, and we'll talk about that in another episode because I could talk about it for hours. But they do go to Key West and Bahamas, which is their shortest itinerary, and again, one of my favorites. So they do that, and then next year they will be in the Southern Caribbean, which is going to be amazing. I'm actually on one of those sailings in February, and we're going to the Southern Caribbean. So we're going to Aruba and Curacao and all those places. So I'm super excited about that. But they also are over in the Med. So in the Mediterranean, they do the Greek Isles over there. They do Ibiza and all of that over there. And they're also taking a ship to Australia next year. So they are covering the world. So if the Caribbean, you are bored with the Caribbean, or maybe you don't even live over here and you're watching this, you can sail almost everywhere. So be on the lookout for those destinations because honestly, there's a ton of them and it's so different. And I do love that about them, that they do try to go to different places and look at different areas to sail in. So I would like to now talk about my first time on Virgin. So actually, let me go back. Hold on. Let's go back and say why I fell in love with Virgin. So Virgin came out before COVID. So they started pumping all of their info to us travel agents long before COVID. And they kept telling us, come see us, come hang out with us, come see this. So they would have all these, conventions and meetings and whatnot and invite us to them. So I would always go because I'm like, what is this? I don't know. This is fabulous. So I would go to the conventions and immediately I fell in love with the product. It spoke to me. I could not get enough of learning about it. I love the fact that it was adults only, and I'll just keep emphasizing that. I love everything about that. So they also mentioned in one of our meetings this hammock that happens to be on the balcony. And I was like, a hammock on the balcony? That's completely different. And all I could do was picture myself hanging out there, reading a book or something, or playing some stupid game on my phone and listening to the water. So they had me hook, line, and sinker at almost literally the first convention. So they started pumping travel agents a long time ago, or prior to COVID, I should say. And that's when I fell in love with them. So COVID happens, and they were trying to get out their very first, I would say, travel agent sailing. So usually when a cruise ship comes out for the very first time, they invite travel agents on to kind of help the crew get used to people and also to help the travel agents to see it so they know the product and that kind of thing. So they invited us travel agents on board. Well, I want to say that the sailing that I had was literally like a week before the whole entire world shut down, or the US for that matter. And they had to cancel it, obviously. So with that being said, we all know what kind of happened after that. So a year and a half later, Virgin was like ready to go, and all of the cruise lines were given the okay to go. And Virgin decided to, finally sail, which was amazing. They actually started in Europe first. Scarlet Lady, which is their very first ship, started in Europe. In England. They started sailing out of there first, and then she came over and started sailing here in October. And I happened to be on the Mermaiden Voyage, which is what they call all their brand new sailings, or their very first sailings are the Mermaiden Voyage, which I love it. So everything in there was mermaid. They had mermaid cupcakes. They had mermaids everywhere. I mean, it was just a wonderful celebration. So I happened to be on there by luck, by accident. It was the cruise that I ended up picking when they said, hey, pick another cruise to go on. I just happened to pick this October. I want to say it was October 4th, but don't quote me on the date. But I just happened to pick this October 4th date. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's their mermaiden. So I happened to be on the first one, which was crazy. And an also cool thing for me to say, I love that I can actually say that I was on the first one. So I was on that and I was hooked. I mean, listen, let's be honest. I was hooked prior to that, but I was hooked once I got on. So the room, I actually happened to sail Rockstar on that very first sailing. I was in the Seriously Suite, and we'll talk about that obviously episodes from now, but it was just amazing. And I actually sailed by myself in the Rockstar Suite. It was just wonderful. So I can't even say enough good things about it. I hung out on my hammock. I enjoyed Scarlet Night, which we'll also talk about, and the PJ party. Listen, everything was amazing. I met people. It was just great. It was just a cool experience. We went to Key West. That was my first time in Key West. And it was great. And then my first time in Bimini. So I was hooked because of what I mentioned, that my clients come back and tell me that they said they talked to people, they hung out with people, they met people, they had no idea that it was going to be that fun and that friendly and that kind of thing. So I just loved it. And let's be honest, I like to party a little bit. Kind of tiny bit. I still think that I'm like 20, but I'm not. So that's clear. But honestly, that's kind of why I love Virgin. So I will tell you that it does have a stigma that it's a party cruise, but 100% you could do either party or you can chillax is what I say. So I happen to take the party side because I love it. But definitely I have clients that will relax and hang out and just chill because you can. There's a ton of fitness classes on there. There's a ton of places to lounge. Well, obviously, I've mentioned the hammock on the balcony several times. You could totally relax there. So you can either do it the way I do it or you can totally relax. So, but yeah, that honestly, hook, line, and sinker didn't matter. So now I'm on number 12 on September 6th. So depending on when you see this, I will already have gone on number 12 or I will be just about to go on number 12. And that's why I fell in love with it. So I will tell you where I've been. I have done, let's see, I've done Key West. Obviously, I keep telling you that's my favorite. And I have done the Dominican. I've done the Riviera Maya. And I've been over in the Med. I did French Days and Ibiza Nights. And I also did the Greek Island Glow. So I think I hit them all of what I have sailed. And I've sailed all 3 cruise ships at this point. So there's 3 out right now and a 4th one coming right at the end of this year. So right in December, the Brilliant Lady is coming, which I'm super excited about because she is doing one of my, like I said, I mentioned earlier, she's doing the Southern Caribbean, which I'm super excited. So yeah, so I've done everything and I'm on number 12. So I love it a little bit, tiny bit, just a tiny bit. So as I mentioned earlier, this is number 1 podcast, which I'm super, super duper uber excited about. So what to expect going forward. Basically, I'm going to keep talking about Virgin. I'm going to tell you all the ins and outs, everything that I know about it, teach you all the lingo because it's definitely different than any other cruise line, and also bring on special guests so that you can hear their experiences and not just mine because clearly mine's slightly biased, but not really biased because I do truly love it. I'm not saying this to you because I want to sell it. I'm saying it to you because I do love it. So, yeah, so I'll bring on more people and that's what you can look forward to. So please stick around, hang out with me. Come watch, listen, whatever it is that you're going to do to these episodes because I'm super excited to talk about one of my favorite suppliers. Remember that I am Samantha from Fabulous Adventures Travel Company, and you can book with me or you can send me questions. You can, anything you'd like. I would love it. So to find me, you can email me at Samantha at Fabulous Adventures with an S, a travel company, or you can also find me on Instagram at Samantha's Travels. And I am also on Facebook, of course, like everybody is, Samantha-Fabulous Adventures Travel. And it will all be linked in the description. So this podcast was born from, I do a Tuesday Tips live on Facebook with a group that I run. I run a Virgin Voyages cruise tips and deals group on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, please come join the group and come hang out on Tuesdays. We don't do it every Tuesday because I'm crazy busy, but we try to go on every Tuesday at noon and do a live. So this was born from that, thinking that, wow, we should probably do a podcast, and this is how this happened, which I'm super excited about. Like I said, I keep saying that, but I swear that I really am excited. But what I want to say is that at the end of that, at the end of Tuesday Tips, we always leave everyone with my favorite saying. It's actually a saying that is on the ship and now in 2 places. So it's in the terminal if you ever board or have boarded Virgin Voyages in Miami. It's right as you go up the escalator. It's on the wall next to the anchor. And like I said, it's in the terminal. And then it's also on the ship at Sailor Services. And I'm going to leave you with my favorite saying is, you float our boat, because without you guys and without my clients and everything, I would not be here. I'd not be anywhere for that matter. So I can't thank you enough. So you truly do float our boat. And I look forward to doing number 2. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.